All right, I am doing a rare Friday video. Now this text came out at 4:31. 4:31, so I got something to eat. Didn't know how long the jury's going to be out, but the Second Amendment, the right to self-defense in Travis County, is dead. It's dead. Sergeant Perry has just been convicted of murder. Now I have to go to Twitter because the Texan won't let me view their page. They want me to log in to read the rest of the article, and I'm not going to go all that route. Let's see here, 21 hours. It's the only one. No, Austin Chronicles. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, there's the Rolling Stones, which I'm sure that's going to be biased as all hell. But according to Hayden Spark, which is the writer for the Texans News, guilty. Sergeant Perry was convicted of murder in the shooting of the death of the Air Force veteran and protester Garrett Foster during July 2020 march against police violence. He faces up to life in prison and a dishonorable discharge from the Army. That's what's going to happen next. I mean, the military is going to come in and he's going to get a dishonorable discharge. Any pension that he has with the military is gone. The jury found Perry not guilty of the charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now, that's the one that people thought was going to get him, but no. Perry's being taken into custody. Sentencing hearings could happen next Tuesday. So I'll do a follow-up video on that to see what his how many years he's going to be in prison. The judge says advocacy has been outstanding on both sides. Obviously, a lot of tears in the courtroom. Statements from Garrett Foster's father, Steve Foster, pretty much saying that he's happy with the results. You have the grifter Tim Cass being shot out here. Maybe Tim Pool. Other people other than Steven Crowder, because Steven Crowder was sounding the alarm on this. Maybe if they didn't wait until the last freaking minute. Let's see here. Open a new tab. Let's see here. New song drop. Don't care. He's repeat. I mean, I know he tweeted about this, but yeah, he should have been calling the alarms. Yeah, this was 19 hours ago, and I'm following him. These are support right now. Please share and let people know the story. This should have happened 2 years ago. I mean, I'm just a small channel. Don't get me wrong. I'm a small channel. And every chance I got, I mentioned Daniel Perry. Well, not every chance, but every time there was a similar case, I brought up him. This is Jose Garza. He pretty much killed self-defense. So there's also another indictment that's coming for a person that defended himself at a convenience store at night and shot the person while he was in the car. He left the store, he went to his car, and that's when he was killed. And according to state law, this happened at night. That was completely legal. But let's see what the Rolling Stone says. I haven't really paid much attention. U.S. Army Sergeant guilty in the murder of the BLM protester that was armed with an AK. Now, the same crowd or similar crowd that says we must ban all assault weapons was cheering for this guy. I mean, you should be applauding Army Sergeant Perry with a revolver that had 5 rounds or 6 rounds to the 120 round that Gary Foster was carrying. Let's see here. I mean, he kind of did drive into the crowd, but not really. I mean, it was an illegal march. Didn't have the protections of the police. Let's see here. Jury in Austin, Texas has found Daniel Perry guilty of murder of Black Lives Matter protester Garrett Foster in the summer of 2020 in the case that has put Texas gun laws on display. The jury found Perry had not acted in self-defense when he drove into a crowd of people and fatally shot an armed protester from the driver's side window of his car. Now, he could have drove away and could have gotten shot because Garrett Foster could have taken some pop shots with him because he was at the ready. Like the more and more I look into this case, is really two wrongs don't make a right. Yes, Sergeant Perry was wrong by not paying attention to the road, and he swerved and missed everyone. And yes, I could understand from the protesters that could be seen as a sign of aggression, but they didn't have to swarm his car. That is when he became. That's when he was no longer the aggressors when they swarmed him. Now, like I said, I don't know what would have happened if he drove away. I don't know if this person would have shot at him. And if this person would have shot at him, he could have been dead. So it could have been self-defense. I mean, a reasonable jury could make that determination. In 2021, a grand jury indicted Perry for murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. The case is unique because both people involved in the incident were armed. Lawyers for the victim said Foster was abiding by his state open carry law while wearing an AK-47 across his chest. Now, this is not something I have an issue with. Anybody legally that could carry a weapon should be able to carry a weapon out in public. I may not agree with it, but it is their right, and I will support people that want to partake in their Second Amendment. Let's see here. Open carry laws, and Perry's attorney said the client's actions were protected under the stand your ground because he feared for his life. Prosecutors said Perry couldn't keep his anger under control and instigated a confrontation by driving towards the crowd, not into the crowd. He also claimed that he previously spoke about killing protesters. I think this is the part that the jury probably harped on, because that wasn't a really good look, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if he has anger issues, but I do know when you have online comments about killing protesters, it's not a good look if you actually kill a protester. And how a person could get away with it by claiming it was self-defense. I mean, I don't think it was meditated. To be honest, it wasn't meditated. I think it was like second-degree murder, even though I don't know what the charge was. If it was first or second. During the trial, which began on March 27, the prosecutors showed jury text messages and social media communications where Perry talked about killing protesters in the weeks before the shooting. I might have to kill a few people on my way to work. They are rioting outside of my apartment complex, which is a true statement. I'm sure he didn't want to kill those people. I mean, it was kind of a scary moment in America's history in that period. That was the Summer of Love. That's when, right after George Floyd was killed, I guess legally I could say murdered by that piece of crap officer that should never have been on the force because he had so many write-ups. But the tensions were really high. There were people rioting throughout the country. We saw pictures of rioters attacking cars, trying to pull people out of their cars and beat them. I mean, it was a crazy period. So him saying that is not, that wouldn't cause me to anything. But the fact that this part right here, I think that really stuck out in the jury's mind. Maybe he wasn't really looking for it, but it may have been an opportunity. Let's see here. He wrote to a friend in June 2020 on another occasion. He says, I might go to Dallas to shoot looters. Like I said, that's another thing that's probably stuck in the jury's mind. But I still think those are irrelevant. In the DMs, according to the report, the Austin Chronicle, a fellow gun owner warned that him, we went through the same training, he said. Shootings after creating an event where you have to shoot is not a good shoot. Which is a true statement. After killing Foster, Perry told the police that Foster has raised his barrel of his rifle and pointed it at him. I thought he was going to kill me. He told police officers on body cam footage of him taken into custody. I'd never been so scared in my life. Witness refuted Perry's claim that Foster has raised his gun. I mean, there's pictures of him. Let's see. I mean, there's definitely a picture of him in the ready. Like he could swiftly move into action at a moment's notice. However, prosecutors say that recovered from, let's see, blah, 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 refuted, and prosecutors said it was recovered within the safety on and no bullet in the chamber. That's irrelevant. How is Perry supposed to know that the gun is on safety and that there's no round in the chamber? He didn't have to engage with the protesters. They didn't have to engage with Sergeant Perry. Like I said, this is two wrongs don't make a right. And unfortunately, Garrett Foster had to pay the price on that. Gary Foster or anybody else, prosecutor Elizabeth Lawrence said on Thursday in her closing statement, according to Austin Chronicle, you cannot shoot and kill someone for walking up to you while exercising their right to open carry. It really depends. I mean, if I have a pistol or I have a rifle and I point it at you or I make motions that I'm going to point it at you, I am no longer exercising my right to open carry and I'm posing a threat. And any reasonable person that is carrying should or have the ability to respond in kind. I mean, this is a very, very complicated case. Going forward, we can see more cases that were perceived as threat of firearm becomes the argument in an attempt to justify shooting as the number of people carrying guns rises, especially those carrying them openly, according to Adam Winkler, a professor at the UCLA Law and author of Gunfight, the Battle Over the Right to Bear Arms in America. The law allows you to defend yourself if someone is threatening you, and a lot of people will see someone with a firearm and believe that person is a threat. That's not to say gun carriers are always the one who commit the crimes, but leads to the possibility of more misunderstandings about someone's intent. Let's see here. On July 25th, 2020, in the midst of the summer of riots, I mean, there were some protests, but there was riots. Austin has riots. They were trying to storm the police headquarters downtown. They threw who knows what at the police officers, but all the police officers involved are getting charged while DA Jose Garza didn't know the identities even though they were on camera. Let's see here. Following the murder of George Floyd, Perry, 35, a U.S. Army sergeant and a ride-share driver, was behind the wheel of his car when he turned the corner and drove towards a group of protesters in downtown Austin, near the state capitol, according to the police, moments after coming to a halt. Among the 20 people or so people heard 5 shots through the driver's side window, killing Garrett Foster. In trial testimony, witness disagreed about how fast Perry was going and whether or not he intentionally was driving into the protest or not. He has claimed that he made the wrong turn, and one expert witness said a laser scan on the scene showed that he slowed down as he approached the crowd. If he wanted to drive through the crowd, now someone could make the argument that he was trying to be threatening. People who attended the protest, including Foster's fiance, a high school sweetheart, Whitney Mitchell, said on the stand that he heard squealing tires as Perry turned the corner. I mean, I could squeal my tires by turning the corner. And I'm not even trying to speed. And that's around like 20 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour as I accelerate. Let's see here. They saw him speed towards them. I remember seeing a car come quickly towards us, Mitchell said, reportedly fighting tears, and it just jerked. After Perry stopped the car, some protesters slapped and kicked the car in frustration. I mean, don't be kicking people's cars. According to the testimony, Foster, 28-year-old Air Force veteran, approached the driver's side door and issued a directive. Foster was openly carrying an AK-47 across his chest, a weapon of war. I thought weapons of war have no place on our street. Across his chest, which is legal in Texas. I'm being hyperbolic there. I don't really think an AK-47 should be considered a weapon of war unless it's not a semi-automatic but fully automatic. Let's see here. Through the driver's side window, Perry, also legally armed, shot Foster multiple times with a handgun before driving away. Witness video published by the Telegraph captured people running and screaming, crying at the scene. I remember Garrett saying, "Move on." I mean, I don't know if that was caught on camera or not. Who uses a wheelchair said on the stand, "All I remember is hearing gunshots and Garrett falling over in front of me, and I jumped out of the wheelchair." After leaving the scene, Perry called the police and turned himself in, claiming that he shot in self-defense after Foster aimed the rifle at him. Austin Police Department officers questioned Perry and let him go. In the trial, the detective claimed that he did not arrest Perry that night because he felt that he needed to do more investigation. According to the Austin American Statesman, the hearing will be scheduled at a future date. Perry could face life in prison, and he will be dishonorably discharged from the Army. Any pension he has is now gone. Like I said, this is an interesting case, which I don't think is going to end properly. And here we go. This is him in the low ready, which he could just swamp up. Now him, the gun being unsafe, with no rounds in the chamber. Perry doesn't know that. Any reasonable person would not know that that gun is unsafe. No reasonable person would be able to know that there wasn't a round in the chamber. At least when it was recovered. But yeah, this is a major blow to self-defense. Now, I'm not saying it was a perfect self-defense case. I think the more close to perfect self-defense would be Kyle Rittenhouse, because he ran and was pursued by his attackers. But this one blurs the line. This one blurs the line in heat of the moment. So I don't know how to process this one. I don't know how the convenience store person is going to fare in Travis County. Now, Travis County did elect extremely progressive district attorney, and he's letting people go. He's letting people go that beat their girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. He let a 17-year-old person who shot up 6th Street go without charges. So I don't know what to make of this. I do think only time is going to tell on how this is going to affect the castle doctrine and stand your ground laws, because if this does not get appealed and it does not get overturned by the Texas Supreme Court or the even Supreme Court, Texas is no longer a Second Amendment sanctuary state. If you cannot protect yourself with any means possible, then we pretty much, the gun is useless. You may be able to live, but what type of life is if you're behind bars for life when you could legally defend yourself? This is no different than running away from when you're being pursued. This, I don't know, it's a very somber moment. It's a very come to terms moment. Now, while I will admit that the fact that he went into the crowd or towards the crowd was going to be the crux of his defense, and those text messages are very damning. I don't think this was premeditated. I don't think he meant to be attacked. Of course, he didn't mean to be attacked. I don't think he meant to agitate those people. And I don't know what we do moving forward. But I will do a update video when the sentencing happens. We'll see what his faith is. One thing I do know is that his pension with the military is gone. Any benefits, VA benefits that he would have gotten is gone. Even if he only gets 5 years or 10 years in prison, when he gets out, his military career means nothing. That sergeant title means nothing. I don't know. That is my video. I normally don't do Friday videos, but I think this was an important story to cover. And I'm actually shocked that the Rolling Stone wasn't completely biased. I have to give props to the Rolling Stone. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some bias, but I didn't really pick up on it. So with that being said, have yourself an awesome weekend. Stay safe. And if you are armed, consider fleeing. Just because we have a stand your ground law doesn't mean that you should participate in that law or see that if you could beat the cases. Because this is Travis County. This is Austin, Texas. And there's another case that's going to be coming up where a correction officer shot a prisoner that was escaping. This is Hays County, who also elected a very progressive district attorney. District attorneys are becoming more ambitious, especially in Democrat-controlled cities. So, we'll see. The only thing that we could hope for is some accountability for DAs in Texas, because they're about to pass that bill. But anyways, I'm rambling on. I don't want this video to be extremely long. But stay safe. Consider fleeing. You don't have to fight every fight. And have yourself an awesome weekend. And a happy Easter as well.